What's up, Gabe here from Our Simple Story. In this video, we're going to take you to the panhandle of Florida. We just crossed the state line here into Florida, and we've got some kayaks on the roof of the car. We're going to take you to 5 springs in one day to celebrate the start of spring. Stick around. Here we go. We're here in historic Marianna, Florida in Jackson County, and our first stop is Jackson Blue Spring Recreational Area right up the road. So here we go.
Blue Springs is located about 5 miles east of Marianna, Florida. The spring supplies water to a 202-acre crystal clear reservoir called Merritt's Mill Pond, a nationally known fishing site.
Well, lesson learned. Blue Spring Recreational Park is only open on the weekends this time of year, but apparently on May 29th, I guess towards the beginning of summer, they start their 7-day-a-week schedule. So, we've got a couple different options here. We're gonna try to find a different access point to the Blue Spring, and maybe like a boat ramp down the road or something. Or we just book it over to Vernon and try to add a spring over in Vernon. But in the meantime, check out this card up here. I'm gonna put up here in the playlist. We've been here before and we made a video all about this spring. So if you wanna know about Blue Spring Recreational Area, click on that card, watch the video, and we took you to a couple different springs inside this park. All right, back on the road. Our next set of springs brings us here to Vernon, Florida. We're gonna try to find Cypress Spring and another little known spring called Hightower Spring. But hey, in the meantime, when you're done with this video, head over and watch a really cool documentary about this little town of Vernon, which is on YouTube for free. It's called Vernon, Florida. You should check it out. This is private property. Let's try this way. Well, I don't know what's going on with our luck today. The boat ramp we were going to drop in here, Culpeper Landing, is being rebuilt, and the foreman of the crew said that we are not allowed to put kayaks in, even if we were trying to go through those bushes right there. So they recommend we go up the road. There's a little place called Cotton Landing we're going to try out, and then we're going to paddle upstream to Cypress Spring. That's good. Or paddle downstream to Cypress Spring, I guess.
We're gonna head left, hook a left, and hit the spring. Really close.
Put the camera in the water now.
We're making our way downstream for what I think to be about a quarter to half a mile until we hit the spring run, and then we're going to take the spring run up into Cypress Spring. But we're surrounded by this beautiful spring foliage that's starting to bloom out here, and all these bay trees and cypress trees down here in Vernon. You know, this actually kind of worked in our favor that the Culpeper Landing was closed, because this is just more scenic, but also it puts us upstream from the spring and actually much closer to the spring than Culpeper Landing is. So I didn't even know this Cotton Landing existed until today, so it's pretty cool.
Located along Holmes Creek, just north of Vernon, Florida, Cypress Spring offers one of the most secluded and serene sights Northwest Florida has to offer. This spring is a magnitude 2 And because of the lack of regular visitors to this spring, the water remains very clear year-round. The spring is only accessible by boat or paddleboard, but there are many outfitting companies in the area who can take you on a guided tour to this spring and its surroundings.
About pulling the boats up here, and we're heading on to spring number 2 or 3, depending if you count the first one that was closed. So far, just being here in the span of like 2 hours, I've run into a former classmate of mine from high school, and then I ran into 3 or 4 of my former students that I taught in high school. So just in the course of a couple hours, it's kind of the cool small town vibe you get around here, so I suppose. But anyways, we're gonna pull the boats up here, load up and go to the next spring. Let's do it.
Located just off Highway 79 and 3 miles south of Vernon, Florida, Hightower Spring is unique in that it's what's called a steep head spring, meaning the spring boils or vents are not far below the surface of the water and boil out of the white sand as opposed to emanating from a large underground cave. This spring is adjacent to a public boat ramp and does not have an admission fee.
Some cons: this spring is shallow. There's not much opportunity to do any like rope swing or scuba diving or snorkeling or that sort of thing. It's really small in its size and diameter, so it can't fit a lot of people. Although it is pretty empty today, although today is just a Monday. Another con to add to that list is that the spring isn't the clearest I've ever been to. Still beautiful, still very clear, but definitely not the clearest. Let's talk pros. First of all, this is a really easy spring to get to. It's right off of Highway 79, maybe a mile down a dirt road, very smooth dirt road. You could easily get any kind of car down. There's a boat ramp right here so you can launch your kayak or canoe. There's some picnic tables, you know, grill where you can grill out here. Looks like somebody at one point had a little campfire here on the side of the river. It's just really peaceful, quiet out here. It's really serene. There are porta potties up there on the hill, but no electricity, no running water that I can see. But still, definitely, if you're on your way down to Panama City or you're in Panama City and you're heading north on Highway 79, this is definitely worth a stop. I'm surprised I have not been to this spring yet, having grown up in this area. All right, next stop is Ponce De Leon Springs in Ponce De Leon, Florida. All right, we're going up over the Chattahoochee River, which reminds us of 8.5 days we spent on said river. Right down here, let me show you. I will put a card up above for you to click on so you can watch that series of videos that Noah and I made. Remember that, Noah? we still get the shivers just looking at the river. But that was a really fun trip. Check it out in that video series. We went from our backyard to the ocean on that river right there. All right, onward. So our next stop brings us here to Ponce De Leon, Florida, which is in Holmes County, Florida. This is the county in which I grew up, which brings me to my next point, which is the reason why I wanted to make this video. This is kind of my hometown area. However, back in 2018, this area was completely decimated by Hurricane Michael, and the economy was crushed. You know, people left, a lot of people migrated out of this area. They migrated up off of Panama City Beach and elsewhere, and they have since just not come back. And the economy has not really been revived yet because of Hurricane Michael. So my hope in this video is to draw attention to this area, you know, the panhandle of Florida, Northwest Florida, and southern Alabama, and tell people, look, this is one of the most beautiful places in the United States of America where you can visit, you can live. Property here is cheap. You know, all the infrastructure is here. It's just, you know, we faced one of the most tragic natural disasters that has ever been experienced in human history just a few short years ago. But this place is still beautiful, and the people here are friendly. So next time you're in the area, you're mapping out your next vacation, consider coming to Northwest Florida and experiencing a piece of this natural beauty for yourself. All right, on to the spring. Here we go. Hello. Yes, 3 people.
Named for Juan Ponce de Leon, who led the first Spanish expedition to Florida in 1513, Ponce De Leon Springs water temperature remains a constant 68 degrees Fahrenheit year-round. The main spring is a convergence of 2 underground water flows and produces 14 million gallons of water daily. The state park is open year-round, and at the time of filming this video, it costs $4 per vehicle for admission. We have a more in-depth video tour of this state park, and it can be found linked in the description below and in a card above.
All right, so let's talk pros and cons of Ponce De Leon Springs. Pros, got everything you need: electricity, pavilions, bathrooms, easy access, you name it. You know, grills, picnic tables. Another pro, I mean, just a couple miles, maybe a mile and a half off of I-10. Really easy to get to. Sorry, I'm like out of breath and freezing cold right now. Let's talk cons. It's a busy spring, especially in the summer. Right now, this time of year, beginning of March, on a Monday, it's pretty empty. But if you were to come here like on a Sunday in July, it's gonna be packed out. That being said, it leads me to my next con. This spring has a diving board. And usually where there's large diving boards and large crowds, you're gonna have a lot of cloudiness in the water. So if you're looking for that pristine, crystal clear water, you can see 40 feet to the bottom and see the cave, and see the boil, see fish swimming around it. This just isn't the spring for you. Another con I might add here with Ponce De Leon Springs State Park is that it actually costs money to go into the park. There's a lot of springs in this area that are just completely free. You just have to know about them and know how to get to them. This one costs you something, albeit just $4. But if you're looking for a place to picnic with the family, and a nice little creek like this where your toddlers or your little kids can, you know, play in, and you dunk in the water and cool off, this is an awesome place. And I have been here at least a dozen or more times. I come here in high school all the time, and swim with friends and goof off with friends. A lot of fun. Anyways, let's go on to the next spring, which is Morrison Spring, one of my favorites.
Are you ready for this? Good idea.
A popular spot for scuba and cave divers, Morrison Springs is a 161-acre park acquired by the state in 2004 and has been continually leased to Walton County to maintain and preserve. The highlight of the park is a 250-foot diameter spring pool that produces an estimated 48 million gallons of crystal clear water each day and has been recorded to produce up to 70 million gallons a day. 3 cavities allow Morrison's frigid waters to surface from the underground aquifer. The deepest of these cavities, at approximately 300 feet in depth, eventually terminates in an underground chamber of unknown dimensions. The new Morrison Springs Park includes large boardwalks overlooking the springs, a diving dock, and a boat ramp away from the diving location.
Wow, that was a whirlwind of a day. But I'm curious, which of those was your favorite spring? Let me know in the comments below. And I hope you enjoyed this little adventure of ours. Consider subscribing to our family's YouTube channel for more content like this. And in the meantime, I hope you have a wonderful spring.